Yo, what's up? I'm Zack. Welcome back to my channel, RWBY Mythology. Today, I want to go over a little bit discussing about, well, in the RWBY community, a lot of people believe that Yang is a bad and terrible sister for RWBY. And I want to debunk that bullshit by him, my thoughts and my opinions on this. Yang is not a terrible sister. She's actually is a good sister. She actually does care for Ruby. She actually was there for Ruby. And I just don't understand why people don't see that as a whole. And people think that Yang only thinks about um Blake than Ruby, honestly, but that's definitely not true because it actually has been confirmed, well, not officially confirmed, is the reason why Yang never thinks about Ruby. She does care about Ruby, but you gotta keep this in mind. Because it's been. When you saw Volume 1, Yang sees Ruby has grown up and became her own person, and Yang decided to let her go and let Ruby be her own person for once, let her make her own decision of her choice because she is a grown girl now. Ever since then, Yang has been building up a relationship with Blake to be a best friend, close best friend, and then later on, they might become a couple. Which that's pretty much what it works. Like it's like real life and shit. Like you want to look after your sibling, but you realize they grown up and they start to become older in the show, immature, and you gotta let them go and move on. And that's how it works in reality. And Yang moved on to be with someone that she actually cared and had feelings for, which is Blake. And plus, they've been hinting that Blake and Yang are going to end up together multiple times. In Volume 8, when they reunite, they actually do care. And you saw how Yang, her face expression about what John said something about, you know, John thought Yang was talking about Ruby, but apparently Yang was thinking about Blake. Because she does care for Ruby, but that's not what she's thinking of. She's thinking of Blake. Yeah, yeah, but I could tell Yang in her head is like, yeah, John does got a point. Like, we are sisters, though. We do arguing, but we have our own agreement and disagreement, which I completely understand. And but Yang knows how Ruby is, and she knows that. That's how simple it goes. They don't want to think about each other about the argument. They just want to think about someone else to not to get not let the anger get the best of them. They want to think about someone else to help them calm down. And the moment where Ruby walks out and Yang went after her, and then they have that talk. So pretty much, Yang is not a terrible sister if she just go after Ruby instead of going and stay with Blake. No, she does care. Yang could tell. She knows Ruby is struggling with all this decision by herself. Even though they had that argument and fight, they still care to one another. And later on, not later on, in Volume 7, where where Salem mentioned about Summer, when Ruby broke down in tears, Yang, a lot of people were bitching complaining about Yang did not react to it. Bitch, Yang probably did. She probably felt shocked and pissed by hearing that. And when when Ruby falls on the floor, Yang went down on her knees comforting Ruby. Because them two know how much they care about their mother, which is Summer. Even Yang knows that. So, that's not a terrible sister. That's actually what sisters should be. That's what siblings should be. Be there for the sibling when they need it most. So, that's pretty much what it is. I don't know why people say that Yang is a terrible sister. It's called growing up and being immature. Like I said before, the reason why Yang let Ruby go, because she's growing up, being her own person, being an actual woman, and Yang wants Ruby to make her own choice, her own decision, and Yang had to learn to let her go, Because she cannot protect RWBY forever. She can't. So she has to learn to let RWBY go and let her be her. And that's what Yang did. And she moved on and spent some time with Blake. You keep this in mind. Family and friends, they're different. But then later on became family and your significant other. That would be complicated to, who should you, support or support the most? Your significant other or your family members? It's difficult. Literally, it is freaking difficult to choose who you want to support. But Yang, she does care for RWBY, but she wants to stay alongside with Blake because them two get to know each other and start to have feelings for each other, became best friend. Again, sooner or later they better become a lover. And it's been freaking confirmed. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think the two voice actors who play Yang and Blake, they actually did kiss. To show, yeah, that might happen. So pretty much they foreshadowed that Blake and Yang are going to kiss one day. I think I remember correctly. I think I see the clips. They actually did kiss in the convention. In the Rooster Teeth convention once. And RWBY, again, like I said, I just don't see why people think Yang is a terrible sister, which she's not. Yang is a sibling that she knows better. She knows she cannot protect RWBY forever. She does care. She really does. Like, hell, she even goes at, hell, her, in Volume 4, was it Volume 4? No, Volume 5, no, wait, it was the end of Volume 4, so I was right. In Volume 4, her goal is go after and find RWBY. And then she came across her mother, and she only cares about RWBY. That's all she cared about. Until later on, when Blake returned, Blake and Yang started to have their friendship back in together, etc. And later on, they actually do. RWBY does care. I mean, not RWBY. Yang does care, and she knows. I know I'm even repeating the same thing over and over, but I just see no reason why Yang is a terrible sister. I just don't see that. Because if y'all don't have no sibling, then you guys will not understand. So, I just don't see how Yang is a terrible sister, honestly. I just don't see that. I really don't. But, so, Yang does care, but also she's in the middle about who does she support with? Her baby sister? Or sooner, her significant other? Soon be her significant other. And I feel like she already chose who she wants to support. And that is Blake. And she does care for RWBY. She does care. If she didn't care, why would she go after RWBY when she is so stressed trying to make a decision? If she doesn't care for RWBY, why she would go after RWBY to go to find her in the Haven Academy? She could have just stay with Blake or find Blake, or even things, she could just go and find her mother, instead of just go after RWBY. That would have been a terrible sister. But she chose to go and find RWBY. If Yang didn't care for RWBY, why was she comforting RWBY after RWBY broke down in tears? If Yang didn't care for RWBY, why would Yang start arguing with RWBY about, her decision and being a leader? That would be a terrible sister. I just don't get that how she's a terrible sister. If she did those things that I mentioned, yeah, she would be a terrible sister. But she's not. I just don't get that, honestly. But, honestly, guys, I got nothing to talk about at this point. I just don't see why Yang is a terrible sister. I just don't see it. I just don't. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Links to my other channels, my social medias, will all be down below. Sketch you guys know the drill. Again, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. As always, keep moving forward.